What's happening, YouTube? It's your homie S. Akuma coming back at you with another video. And today's video is all about the first place finish that I had this past weekend at the Transformers TCG Open, the very first big tournament for Transformers. I'm happy to say that I won the event and I have become the game's first champion. It's a big deal for me, and it's very surreal that I won. I still can't believe I won. You know, I walk back and forth past the table looking at my trophy every, couple of hours, just like telling my girlfriend, "Hey, babe, I won." She's like, "I know, I'm proud of you." And I just can't believe it. Coming into the event, I was very confident to win, but I have a Cinderella story that actually takes me from, feeling like the Warriors a couple years ago when they were down 1-3 versus the Thunder, and then coming back to win that series and move on to the finals and win the championship. That's exactly how I felt because, like I said, I'll get to that story here in a second. But I want to shout out everyone at Top 32, everyone in general actually that came to the event. We had over 100 about estimated roughly 120 unique players. So not necessarily people that were re-signing up for the other events, but 120 separate different players for all the events from Thursday through Saturday. So that's definitely a record, and our first record for the biggest Transformers event. So glad to have been a part of it. I'm glad everybody that came out. We had players from New Hampshire, Colorado, drive-in, fly-in. So people like that all from all over the country looking into the game like that. We had new players that literally just picked up the game an hour prior that Vector Sigma helped. Shout out to Vector Sigma. I'll talk about them and the shout outs later on in the video. That helped them, catapulted them to make it to the top 32 preliminary, the TCG Open, and also get their invite to the Energon Invitational this December. So that's pretty nuts. So shouts out to those players. I forgot their names, but definitely up and coming, so be on the lookout for them. And with that being said, talking about my story getting here. So when I definitely decided I was coming to the event, maybe a week and a half prior to the event itself, I was confident that I would win, and I had the ability to win, rather. So, I got here, Thursday's event I missed. Thursday's event I missed. Came in Friday, played Sentinels Friday. I lost first round to a Blur and Optimus deck. So I won a dice roll, and I decided for him to go first. But I've played against the deck before, against another friend prior to that tournament, like, months back, not months back, but a while back. And I'm thinking that, I'll get 2 extra attacks on his characters because, it's 2 versus 3 and his 2Y versus my Sentinels. And so he flips Optimus and he attacks with Nova Star. And then, I do my attack with Optimus and, do my thing. And then he plays Start Your Engines. And immediately as he plays Start Your Engines, I'm like, wow. I was not thinking about that at all. I should have went first, technically, actually. And so I ended up losing that game because he tapped and untapped Nova Star so many times. Like the first turn that he had, since he flipped Optimus on his first turn to his bot mode, when he plays Start Your Engines on his next turn on Nova Star and attacked with it, I had to attack Nova Star again. My attack wasn't that large either, so he was able to defend pretty well. And then on his next turn, he flipped Optimus back to alt mode, got Start Your Engines back again, and used it again on Nova Star. So I had to attack Nova Star a good couple of times. It's similar to having to attack Fireflight when you go first against aerial bots, and then also having to attack Skydive when they send Skydive in. So it was similar to that, and Nova Star actually has 3 defense and 13 health. So it takes a while to KO her unless they flip bad and you grenade launcher, reckless charge or whatever, and flip really well on your attack flips. So, and then he was able to finally suit up Optimus well enough to kind of like just knock my bots out. I don't think there were any one-hit KOs. Well, not on Optimus, but I think he like knocked out Prowl really quickly. And yeah, I just wasn't able to even really strip his hand away like that because Optimus would just recur kind of whatever he wanted anyway. So he didn't really lose that much advantage. So yeah, I lost game 1, and game 2 I went first because I quickly realized that that's what I should have done. But then unfortunately game 3, of course, he went first again, pretty much did the same thing, and I just wasn't able to mount enough damage against him. And then so round 2, I win round 2, and round 3, I think I win round 2 and 3. And then round 4, I play against not a double prime, a Optimus Prime deck. Okay, not an Optimus Prime deck. Let me revert. Shadow play, I guess I'll call it, with or OptiShock. He played Optimus and Shockwave and sided into Nemesis Prime. So And I want to say, okay, when I say I actually lost to it, like I can't believe that he kept, my loss was so bad. He kept Shockwave in alt mode the whole time and just kind of flip flop Optimus. He didn't even use Shockwave's other effects, like to make me discard cards and I deal damage to my bots or anything. And that felt pretty bad when that happened like that. I'm like, wow, I lost to Shockwave in his alt mode. And which is his strongest mode. He's 6'3", 6'11", 3 there. But yeah, I just wasn't able to push through enough damage. And when Optimus was swinging, he was swinging for the fences, and it was just hard to come back from. So at that point, I won out the rest of my rounds, and I ended up being 4-2. But something that I didn't really understand prior about tiebreakers and records and things like that, with a 6-round event, most of these events, if not all of them, were all 6 rounds. In a 6-round event, if you lose round 1, your only chance of top 8ing is pretty much winning out. Winning out means winning the rest of your rounds, or possibly at least winning round 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you lose round 6, hopefully you lose round 6. You'll be losing round 6 to somebody else that should be the same record as you, which means your tiebreakers might push you in a possible better position for top 8. You might slip in at 7th or 8th. But if you lose round 1 and then you win round 1 and 2 and 3 like I did, and then you're 2 and 2 going into the 5th round, you could win out, but your tiebreakers possibly won't be that good. The thing is, the person that you lost to in the beginning, they're pretty much carrying you. That's where your tiebreakers matter, is your losses. And if that person happens to not be doing well, then your tiebreakers get worse because they still have so many rounds to go through. If you're X and 2 going into the last round, like let's say you've won your first 3 rounds, and then or you won your first 2 rounds, you lost one, and then you won another one in your X1 or whatever going into the last round. If you did lose that match and you went 4-2, the person you just lost to was also 4-1, so you'll still probably get 5th, 6th, or 7th, or 5th or 6th, or something to that effect. But yeah, so losing round 1 and then being 2-2 going into round 5, although I won out, I got 9th. So I said all that to say I got 9th place. All that hard work to push back, and so X and 2 finished 9th. That felt bad, so I'm like, okay, I have 2 more chances tomorrow. So I played Sentinels again, which was a mistake, only because I should have just played a different deck in general, not necessarily because of what the field was going to be. What ended up happening was Friday's event, aerial bots took over the top 3 spots. So the thing is, those 3 people, they were, I think it was Scott Landis, Dan Arnold, both of them a Vector Sigma, and Kyle Gant. Shout out to Kyle from Wrecking Rule, with the Wrecking Rule squad. And so they definitely weren't just going to play aerial bots again. They were already had a headache from mirror matches, from dealing with photon bombs and corners all weekend and all that other stuff, that they're definitely not just going to play that deck again. But then also on top of that, everybody else seeing that the top 3 decks were dominated by the same deck, they're going to be definitely gunning after that deck. So why would you play aerial bot again in the 3rd preliminary event? So it's going to be all orange again. That's exactly what happened. But also in the midst of all orange, a lot of Insecticons came out again, and I was just, I don't want to even say blindsided, it just was not correct to play Sentinels again. So I played Sentinels again. I won round 1, so that's a good start. But then I lost round 2 against the same deck. I played against Cars, beat that 2-0, and then I lost 0-2 to a Cars. So I'm down and out, and I'm like, man, lost round, or a round early again, at least not round 1. And then round 2 I win, but then round 3 I play against Bugs, and then I just get stomped by a million I Still Functions, just can't stop them. And round 4 I lose to Dinobots. So now I'm 2 and 3. Of course, there's no reason to play this one anymore because 2 and 3, X and 3, you're definitely not going to make the top 8. So at this point, I'm really stressed out in my head because I honestly came in thinking that I would at least qualify Friday or Saturday, the first event on Saturday, and be fine. But now I'm really scrounging, and I'm here in this last event, and I'm like, wow, I cannot not top 32. Like I said, that confidence. I was humbled at the same time, even despite I wasn't being conceited about it. But I was just like, I can't go home without top 32 in my head. Like, it's going to be a long, horrible, stressful, sad ride home if I don't at least top 32. So I ended up deciding to play aerial bots for the last event. Vector Sigma created a version with aerial bots that sided into Optimus Prime. I think you take out, of course you take out 3 bots, and I think you keep Fireflight, and so that way if they go first, they have to attack Fireflight, and they can't attack Prime, of course. But I think it plays Fireflight, Optimus, and I'm assuming Skydive. I'm not 100% how, but I think you can interchange them because you have your options. But so the reason why it does that is because your opponent game 2 is going to side in, a whole bunch of anti-aerial bot cards. So let's say aerial bots win game 1, and this is going to be a long video, by the way, if you couldn't already tell, because I haven't even gotten to the deck profile. I just want to talk about the entire experience of the weekend. So just bear with me. But if area bots win game 1, they have to side first. So they shouldn't side Optimus, I don't think, because because you have to present your deck first. So if you present Optimus and Skydive and Fireflight, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, well, that's an easy side, or excuse me, so I don't have to side in all my corners, and I don't have to side in, photon bombs and all that, because you're going from 5 wide to 3 wide. But so I don't think Aerobot should side in to Optimus game 2, since they won and they have to present. But if it happens to go to the game 3, because despite all the cards that are sided in against Aerobots, I heard a lot of players saying how they got cornered 3+ times per game, photon bomb twice, and still won. But it's just very stressful for the Aerobot player, but they ended up still pulling it out. So I heard it from multiple different Aerobot players throughout the weekend. So despite that, game 2, Aerobots can possibly win and clinch the match and take it 2-0. But if it happens to go to game 3, well, now the Aerobot's opponent has to side first, and then most likely he'll keep in his corners, etc., against the full 5 wide Aerobots. And then the Aerobot players, that's when he's going to surprise them inside in the Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend. And now a lot of their main deck cards are dead. The photon bombs are okay, but you're only dealing 6 damage across the board instead of 10 across 5 wide Aerobots. So there's that. But anyway, like I said, I didn't end up doing that because I honestly forgot. And so I just played Aerobots the entire time. But I ended up winning. I ended up making it 4-2. What stressed me out even more is, by the way, I won my round 1. This is in the 4th preliminary event. I won my round 1. And then round 2, I lost against Insecticons. I got 2-0'd by Insecticons. That's my best matchup. What is going on? I'm like, this is ridiculous. Game 1, I lost because solely because his kickback attack, he flipped 5 of his double oranges. Now, I'm not making excuses, I'm not complaining, but that just doesn't happen. That rarely happens when his kickback went to attack my Superior. Because keep in mind, Aerobots is a good matchup against Insects, but Insects still can win the match. It's just, I don't even want to say it's rare, but it is tough for the Insecticon player. But it can get close. I've had a lot of close matches, even from the the SDCC pack tournament, where got my Superior up to 36 damage on it and just missed it or whatever. So anyway, when his kickback swung at my Superior, I think he had 10 damage counters on it. He flipped like 5 of his double oranges, plus he had a grenade launcher on it or something. So he put my Superior on at 1 damage left, and yeah, it just wasn't looking good for me. And then his next turn, I think his Ransack had 2 damage on it or something like that, and he had Supercharge or something like that and another upgrade, and just of course killed me. He only had I think he had Bashing Shield on top of that, so he Bashing Shield and like Supercharged or whatever. And I have Tough 2, but I only have 1 defense, so all he needs to deal is 1, and I lost. So yeah, and then game 2, he just had cornered after cornered after cornered, and then beat my bots down while they were small, and there was just no way of winning that match. So that felt terrible to lose to my supposed best matchup. So now I'm really stressed out. I went at a point and didn't go talk to anybody after each round. Like I did win, like I think the next 2 rounds in a row, and after each round I would go sit down by myself somewhere and just put my head down and just focus, and even though I'm stressed, and just do the best I can, take it 1 game at a time, 1 match at a time. But I ended up pulling it out 4-2, and I make it 4th place for that 4th preliminary event and make it into the top 32. But the negative point side to that is that event started at 5 o'clock and didn't end until about 11:30. And Brian and Kyle, the shout out to Wreck and Rule, those are the guys I stayed with for the event. They were doing a couple of things, but they were like, I think they were playtesting and stuff, and I wasn't going to rush them. And, I was kind of talking to some other people anyway. But the point is, it was so late that it's like, man, we got to get up at 8, 9-ish in the morning. There was a LGBT parade going on the next morning, so we had to kind of make sure we get there so we don't get caught up in the closed streets and get to the event on time, because we didn't, want to miss, because it started at 10 instead of 11 this time around. So I'm just, on edge. I went to Denny's because all I had was a protein bar or a Cliff bar that Brian was nice enough to give me earlier in the day, and I was very hungry. So I took my butt to Denny's, ordered my food, pulled all my cards out at the table in Denny's, and started working on my deck. And I knew that for the top 32, the deck that was calling my name, that's been under the radar the entire weekend, was the deck that you see here, the Optimus, Flame War, and Hot Rod deck. So this deck is just an iteration pretty much of Vector Sigma's. I think Scott Landis created it, I want to say. It's an iteration from Double Prime to 3 wide. So you're taking out Nemesis Prime and you're adding Flame War and Hot Rod for stability. Now, or excuse me, let me back up a second. The original version played Hot Rod, or okay, Optimus Prime, Battlefield Legend, Flame War, and the small Optimus, the 7-star Optimus from the structure deck, the starter deck rather. I think he has Bold 1 on one side, and then you could draw a card when you flip him to the other side. So with Hot Rod, this set, he's also 7 stars, and he has Inborn Tough 1. So the very strong play going first is to flip Flame War and then attack with Hot Rod, and Hot Rod now has Inborn Tough 2. So there's no armor or anything that can affect that. The only thing that could affect it is a Warpath, if you're playing against a Warpath. And so it's very hard to kill him on your opponent's first turn when he has Tough 2 Inborn, and they're only able to play 1 action or 1 upgrade. So yeah. So shout out to Vector Sigma for the creation, but it just evolved to this character, to the Hot Rod, and go from there. But yeah, so a couple of people played the deck Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. All 3 days of the events, but it was under the radar. The most played decks, like Thursday, was Insecticons, and Dominant deck was Insecticons. The most played in Dominant deck Friday was Aerial Bots. And then Saturday, the first event, cars. Like 10 car decks were out there. That's ridiculous. 10 cars just like rolling over everybody. And I don't know what that top 8 looked like, but I want to say I'm sure a couple of cars made it. Insecticons were still everywhere. There were a couple of area bots. Not that much Sentinels besides me. Honestly, matter of fact, apparently it was very incorrect to play Sentinels because I think I was the only Sentinel player for the first event on Saturday. So yeah, so like I said, this deck was under the radar. I think one person slipped in and topped with a orange heavier version. I'm assuming more orange focused version, I think. And yeah, so anyway, again, this deck was under the radar because nobody was really, you can't necessarily really prep for it, but like I said, it was just one of the least played decks for the weekend, and it's been calling my name all weekend. I haven't played it at all. I had a deck list written out for it. Excuse my words, I'm getting tired over here, but I wanted to get this video out for you guys before I went to bed. But yeah, the deck was just calling my name. I'm like, I remember Scott saying a long while ago, Scott Landis, that blue will always be back, like the format always. And it's funny, he kind of said that like the game's been out for years, but I understand what he was saying though. Like just like Wave 1. Wave 1 was very bold, heavy, orange, wrecking everything, and then blue was finally incorporated once we understood how these decks worked and what you could do to combat them. Like Inborn Tough definitely helps when they, inevitably have that bashing shield to get rid of your armor. So that's exactly what happened. The format for Wave 2 started out very orange heavy, and Insecticons got better because they got better cards from Wave 2, and it was just really orange dominant. Sentinels had their very big stride throughout the middle of the format, and then towards the end, the blue deck started coming back, especially Aerial Bots, and yeah, then the Optimus deck. So going into top 32, or not even going into something, back up a little bit more again. So I didn't go to bed till like 1:30 in the morning. So already I'm getting like 6 hours of sleep because we woke up at about 8 to get dressed and, get ready to head out to the event. Get to the event at a decent amount of time. We still had about an hour left before the event started. They did a player meetup. They talked about, how payment's going to work and this and that. Gave us a paper and stuff to make sure we, follow that and all that good stuff. And, get ready for the event. So I decided, of course, to play this deck. I made sure my deck list is all good. And, just skipping all the way to top 32. Yeah, so top 32, I'm not necessarily nervous, but I'm just like, man, I made it this far. Let me at least, at this point, my weekend was so bad and disappointing and stressful that I'm just settling for top 16. I'm like, let me at least just win top 32 so I can, at least get the invite to the Energon Invitational. And if I decide not to go to Gen Con, I'm cool, because I already have my invite and I can just wait and, it'll be all good. But on a side note, I do kind of want to go to Gen Con though, because, that's the first event for, Wave 3. So, or first big event for Wave 3. So a lot of interesting stuff I'm sure is going to come out. But without further ado, let's jump right into my matchups. I'm going to be kind of quick with those and then get to my shout outs. And of course, the trophy, the beautiful trophy at the end of the video. All right, guys, so in my top 32 match, I played against Cars, the Wheeljack, Bumblebee, and Proud deck. As you can see here, my Flame War and my Bumblebee are both signed by Kenneth Nagel. I'll show one at a time. You can see the signature at the bottom. You can't really see the flasher type of deal or the streaks that he has on the headlights, really. You kind of can see it, but not really. But shout out to Ken Nagel. He signed my Bumblebee and my Flame War. Really cool guy. Oh, missed it. There you go. I had him sign these, and I would have had him sign a Red Alert, and I guess I will next time I see him. because these are the 3 promo cards that have the gold plating, you know, for the new rarity that we have for the promo cards at the store events. So shout out to Ken Nagel, real cool dude. Best Street Fighter. No, I'm joking. Akuma's the best Street Fighter, but Ken, you're still cool. You'll always be number 2. I'm messing with you. Shout out to Ken Nagel and the rest of the guys at the event. Very cool guys. Gave me a lot of good information. So yeah, I played against Cars round 1 top 32, and I think I went first, and I flipped Flame War and attacked with Hot Rod, so that was a strong start. And by the time Optimus was able to attack, by the time Wheeljack was able to attack Optimus, inevitably my Optimus was suited up pretty nice, and I think I had an Ion Blaster and a reinforced plating or sparring gear, whichever, on him. And the thing is, on his turn, I made sure to only armor up Optimus when he's attacking, because if I would have armored up Optimus when Flame War or Hot Rod was attacking, he could bashing shield, on one of those turns. And then on the turn when Optimus attacks, if I don't have an armor, he could just play his powerful weapon like Grenade Launcher or Power Punch or Erratic Lighting or whatever, and really put a hurting on my Optimus, or better yet, even KO it. So the strategy there was to make sure that after the Optimus and the Flame War were tapped, that when he was attacking, I would make sure I put the armor on him that turn. So that way, if he does have Bashing Shield, when he plays it, he won't be able to play the Grenade Launcher, Erratic Lighting, etc. So it's very important to only put it on him when he's attacking. I can get more tactical with it and talk about some other things with it. If you want me to make another video about how to play the deck, or like the mirror match and things like that, I can collab with Dan Arnold on that as well. And we can talk about that, because we plan on doing a collab video for the finals match. But I'm going to have a little bit of bad news, and I messaged him about it. The finals match that I had recorded, which was real nice of the WOTC staff to let me do, for some reason the file's corrupted. So I'm saying this now because the video, I wouldn't be posting it anyway for a while. If anybody has a link or something like that where they could, or they know someone, or you could walk me through how to uncorrupt the file, a YouTube video or something, let me know. I'm gonna try to fish for some stuff now. I don't know what happened. I didn't try to delete it or why would I delete it? Yeah, but the file's corrupted and it says it's not there when I know it definitely is. So I don't know what happened, but I'm hoping I can recover it by the time it's time to post a video, so me and Dan from Vector Sigma can get some commentary on it and go from there. So yeah, so I played against Cars this round, won game 1, and then game 2 he went first. And I think I was still able to clinch it out. I sided in, a couple of my side cards. Those helped. Well, I think I take that back. I only sided in 1 card, but I ended up still being able to pull it out either way. And moving on to the next round. All right, guys, so in top 16, I played against a really cool guy. We got a chance to talk for a good bit. We talked about our kids, Father's Day, and, things we were looking to do with them playing the game, and bringing them into the game when they get older and all those type of things. I think he said he had his 4-year-old actually learning to play now. So despite the game saying 8 and older, he has him learning, and he uses the white cards that the white 2 cards that cover the character card whenever you buy a booster pack. He uses those as flash cards. I got a million of them too. That's a good idea. I'm definitely going to use that for my son when that time comes. So shout out to him, really cool guy. But yeah, he played Insecticons, and you know what? Before the round started, we got a deck check. Deck check took about 22 minutes because that's the time extension we got. There were no errors with our deck. Well, they did take him in the back. I guess the head judge went to go talk to him about something, but the head judge was mistaken about whatever, and nobody got a game loss or anything like that. So we were able to play our full 3 games, and of course we had that 22-minute time extension. So throughout the entire match, he made some interesting plays. He made he sent. I can't really, he sent Barrage in before Chop Shop on a play, but he felt like he needed to KO one of my characters because it was damaged. I don't remember if it was Hot Rod or whatever, but I don't know if he was necessarily super knowledgeable about this matchup specifically. Like I say, this deck was under the radar for the entire weekend. It wasn't mass played. Vector Sigma didn't play it or anything like that. Oh, and I gotta say, Vector Sigma didn't play it until top 32, and I say Vector Sigma because even Mark Keeney, shout out to Mark Keeney, cool dude. We don't always see eye to eye, but still a good dude. Learned a lot from him. Yeah, even he was playing it. Mark does not play blue decks, but even he was playing the deck. So I'm like, wow, we were all on the same page. A couple other guys outside of the team also played the deck as well. So yeah, Optimus 3 wide took over the top 32 for a semi surprise factor. So I don't think he was very familiar with this matchup because he sent some of his characters in a very weird order. So, and I was able to, just capitalize on that. And this deck already has a good matchup against Insecticons either way. But so that happened, and I think I won in 2 games. I don't think I dropped the game with that one. And moving on to top 8. All right, guys, so now I'm in top 8. I was happy, I was blessed, and so grateful to be in top 16 at least to get my invite. I was settling for that, so even if I lost in top 16, I'm cool because I still get some money. The prize support goes up to, I think, $250 for placing and finishing in top 16. And, I got my Energon Invitational, for the event at PAX Unplugged in December. So, but, I won that top 16 match, and now I'm in top 8, so now I at least get also a box of the deck profile, the box opening that I did earlier for Wave 3. So that was very cool, and I'm very grateful. And so at this point, take a small breather and just get prepared. And I'm not gonna just go drop the game just because I'm satisfied. I'm semi-satisfied. I still want to do the best I can until I lose. I'm here to keep playing to win. So as you can see, this round I don't have anybody for the 3-wide deck to face off against because it was a mirror match. Shout out to him, really cool guy. And as usual, I'm bad with names. I got to start writing this stuff down. Get on me, guys. I will make sure I do that. But he was a really cool dude. Shout yourself out in the comment section below if that was you. You know who you are. Made a new friend. Made a whole bunch of new friends the weekend. Great weekend. So played against him, and I think I win the dice roll. Winning the dice roll is very important in the mirror match because you want to go second. You want to go second because their Optimus Prime will have to attack first, meaning your Optimus Prime gets first swing on theirs, and the game is all about Optimus. If you can get rid of Optimus, you have a very high chance of winning the game. So me being able to get his first swing on his Optimus was a big deal. His list didn't seem like it played that many armors like sparring gear and reinforced plating because my Optimus was definitely more well suited than his throughout the game. I noticed, he played things like Press the Advantage, which isn't a bad card, but he main deck Press the Advantage and things like that, and he was more combo oriented. It's funny, he was playing a card like he was playing Brainstorm to he did some decent Brainstorm plays with it, nothing like that was super devastating. But also, side note, Scott, I saw you playing Brainstorm. I thought you said you don't like Brainstorm because it's Christmas land. So you're gonna have to explain that to me one day. But shouts out to Scott, cool guy, very cool guy. One of the reasons why I was able to take it this far. But anyway, so yeah, play against the mirror match. I ended up winning game 1. Going first was probably the sole reason, and I just made sure I played my cards right. On the wheel turn, I made sure to, when Optimus wasn't attacking, I would flip him and get the bigger they are back, and I would make sure to send Flame War into the Hot Rod that they send into me, because now the Flame War has Pierce 4, so I get 4 solid damage on the Hot Rod, and go from there. And then game 2, he decides to side deck into the deck that I lost to in the very first preliminary tournament on Friday, the Optimus Blur Star deck, or Blur Star. I'm thinking of, don't mind me. So the Optimus Nova Star deck. And so I wanted to get my revenge on it, the deck in general, because I lost to it that first round on Friday. And but I think that was a mistake on his part because 2-wide is definitely not more efficient than 3-wide. When it's 3-wide versus 2-wide, it's rare that the 2-wide deck wins. It's not even necessarily about having more attacks. It's just I get to get the Optimus a lot quicker, and not even just with my Optimus. I get to get into Optimus with my Flame War and or Hot Rod with the bigger they are and deal that 4 damage. Also with my direct damage as well. So being able to get to get a drink of water here. I'm doing a lot of talking, so my voice is cracking up on me. All right. So, being that I get more attacks on Optimus than normal is the big deal. So, I think he had, and I think he went first on top of that too. It was fine that he went first because he had Start Your Engine, so I'm assuming he sided that in. Of course, you don't main deck that because, well, you do have a car, but I don't think he'd play that in his main deck, I don't think. Which isn't the worst idea because you can just untap him and attack again and then make them attack the Hot Rod again. That's an idea. But, so... yeah, that's pretty much just the only thing to really say about that. He did that game 2, so I ended up being able to take that game 2-0 and move on to the top 4. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. All right, guys, top 4. As you can see, it was another Insecticon deck. So I will say, let me talk about my thoughts before getting into top 4. So I'm very ecstatic that I won top 8. At this point, I was still happy to settle for losing in top 8 and You know, I got a box of Siege. I got my invite to the Energon Invitational. I'm good to go. But as soon as I won top 8, my whole mindset changed back to how I was prior to the event. I'm like, yo, I could win this event. I need to stay, you know, keep my spirits up. You know, I'm very grateful. I can win this event. You know, so but I had a roadblock. And I had 2 roadblocks that I was just hoping wouldn't happen. Being that my deck has a good matchup against Insecticons, I was hoping to get paired against the Insecticon deck, because shout out to Brian from Wrecking Rule, his Firewheel deck that he will be doing the deck profile soon, I'm sure. It features Wheeljack, Fireflight, RC, and Alpha Bravo, I think. RC, Wheeljack, Fireflight, and Alpha Bravo, I want to say, is his lineup. And yeah, Firewheel is exactly how it sounds. He's on fire with his RC. His RC really gets at Optimus and KOs him pretty fast, and the deck's just not able to breathe. So it's not unwinnable, but it's definitely not a favorable matchup. So if the 3-wide Optimus deck had a bad matchup, I would definitely say that's the deck, or a you know, unfavorable matchup. So I'm just honestly hoping not to get paired against him, and I'm kind of hoping not to get paired against Dan either until the finals, because I didn't want us to have a mirror again. And, you know, I just played against a mirror, and I was hoping at least it would be cool to have the mirror in the finals, and yeah, and go from there. So not that I wish anything bad on Dan, because it's like, well, if I don't get paired against you know, the Firewheels deck, then Dan will. And that's exactly what happened. So I ended up playing against the Insecticon deck. Dan played against the Firewheels deck. Dan, shout out to you, man. You pulled that win out. I saw the relief on you once you finally won the match, because I'm pretty sure that was a tough match. I wish that was something that could have been recorded so I could see how that matchup goes. So you have to let me know, you know, how you did that, because props to you, because he was eating. I think he beat Scott in top 16. And Scott was also playing, you know, 3-wide Optimus, the creator of the deck. And yeah, so, you know, that was a big deal for Brian moving on. So it was like, man, Brian's really just about to win the event by just beating all his best matchups, which would be dope, you know. So, but yeah, so anyway, so I'm playing against Matt Brower, I think his name is. Shout out to Matt Brower. He is the creator of the Nano Machines YouTube channel. Really cool, really animated and funny guy. As much as I wanted to laugh with him throughout the match, because, you know, he was talkative, but it was cool. Like, it wasn't an issue, but I was just super focused, because, like I said, at that point, I was just like, man, I need to win this event. You know, I would really, you know, I'm too close. I only have 2 more wins. You know, might as well just take it all the way and make it a true Cinderella story from how bad the weekend started. So it went to 3 games. Game 1 I won, and he plays a very spicy list. Speaking of that, I do have his deck profile coming up soon. I'm going to say this now, and I'm probably going to say it again at the end of the video, and possibly try to remind people. My next couple of videos, unfortunately, as you can hear now, I got my new blue snowball in, so the audio is a lot better. But for the event, I didn't have the snowball yet, unfortunately, so the audio on some of the videos is not that great, but you can still understand it. So turn your volume down some when you listen to the video. I'm going to try to do my best when I put it in my video editor to change the audio sequencing, and try to see if I can get some decent, better than what it is. But just keep that in mind. I have a couple of deck profiles, and there are a couple of points where the video is just really bad, and I know I'm going to get some backlash for it, but I don't want to not post the videos at all, so I'll take the heat. It is what it is. But yeah, I have Matt Brower's Insecticon deck profile. I will mention one card, Bad Attitude. The card that we thought nobody would play, he's side decking Bad Attitude, but that's the only information I'll give out right now. I'll wait for you guys to see the rest of his deck profile. It's a very interesting way to play the deck. And so for him to be the highest placing Insecticon deck, you know, hey, it was his day, and it goes to show that it doesn't have to be one certain way. Not knocking anybody else's list, because they're all great. You know, the deck is powerful, but his deck is definitely not the norm. I will say that. So I ended up winning game 1, and game 2 literally came down to him top decking. If he didn't top deck this card, I would have definitely won that match, or that game, and, you know, clinching the match. But he top decked Swarm with my Optimus at 12 damage. And his first card he flips is a improvised shield. So, you know, I mean, he was probably going to flip 2 oranges no matter what anyway, but wow, nice top deck, Matt. So I was honestly surprised. I was confident. I was like, oh man, I should be good unless he top decks ISF or Swarm. You know, I wasn't thinking about Swarm. I was thinking about just ISF, but Swarm does the job just as well. Pushed it to game 3, and game 3, I kind of took it like normal. I think he won the dice roll and decided to go first. And when he lost game 1, he decided to go first again. So in game 3, I decided to go first, which is what I want. And I flipped Flame War, you know, set my Hot Rod, and dealt damage. One thing also that helped me win the match was, I don't know if he was necessarily knowledgeable on it or not, But he, well, I guess not. But I mean, no offense, bro. You know, it's all good. Shout out to your top 4 finish. But he flipped Scrapnel and sent Scrapnel in when he went first both games. And all I did was make it easier for Flame War to just easily get 3 damage on it. So I didn't even need to boost it up or anything like that. Flame War just simply attacks and Scrapnel takes 3. So him doing that, you know, just allowed it to make it easier for my guys to work and get some damage on his bots. He also made 2 very interesting Peace Through Tyranny plays from Game 1 and Game 2. Game 1, well, I guess the first one wasn't really as interesting. He KO'd his Scrapnel that had 6 damage counters on it and, you know, got 2 attacks in. And, you know, it was pretty close towards the end with that Peace Through Tyranny play. And then Game 2, he made a Peace Through Tyranny play on Scrapnel that KO'd it while it still had 2 more damage, two more attacks to soak. So it only had 3 damage counters on it. He did it early and got 2 attacks in. And I don't know if that one was necessarily the right call because it put him in a worse position than he was. And I was able to end up capitalizing on it, but he still top decked the Swarm. And then Game 3, I ended up winning. It came down to Optimus versus, I think, Chop Shop, I want to say. I had a very key play where I had 4 cards left in my deck. His Kickback had 7 damage counters on it, and his Barrage had 8 damage counters on it. And Chop Shop I wasn't really worried about because, you know, that's their worst attacker. And I had to take a chance. I forgot exactly. I needed to look and see how many direct damage cards I had left in my deck. Looking through my graveyard about 3 times, I noticed that One Shot Stand, One Shot Fall, I had 1 more left in my deck. So I had a 50-50 chance of flipping that One Shot Stand, One Shot Fall. But so I needed to attack the Barrage and then flip the One Shot Stand and also kill the Kickback and then just be left at Chop Shop. And then if Chop Shop didn't kill Optimus on that next turn, which wasn't likely, then, you know, Optimus would turn around, stand up, and then KO the Chop Shop on the next turn. So I went for it, and my first flip was Espionage. So 4 cards, you know, you flip 2 cards. I flipped Espionage and the One Shot Stand, and then I flipped my last 2 cards. So either way, no matter what, the white icon, the Espionage helped me flip my last 4 cards in my deck to get to that direct damage. So I was able to kill the Barrage with attacking normally, and then kill the Kickback with the One Shot Stand. And then it was Chop Shop versus my Optimus, and I think he made a play where he activated, I think he had 2 cards left in hand. I knew one was backup plan, spoiler alert, backup plan, and he activated Power Punch first, and then he played backup plan. So doing that means he can't activate another upgrade for the turn. What ended up happening was he played Power Punch, played backup plan because it feels good, of course. It seems like it makes the most sense to draw 3 cards, you know, instead of having to scrap any cards from your hand. And he drew Force Field. So if he would have just backup planned first and drew the Force Field, he would have played the Force Field, the Kickback, the Chop Shop was undamaged, and then his Chop Shop would have got to attack on my Optimus, put him in danger mode, and then, yeah, my Optimus gets to stand and attack, but I sided out my Smelt, and I sided out my Vaporize, so I had no way to get rid of the Force Field, and I had to attack the Chop Shop, break the Force Field, and then Chop Shop, he just backup planned, and I'm sure he drew another powerful upgrade weapon, and he would have definitely probably KO'd my Prime, and I would have actually lost. So I don't think there's really any way to, maybe it just was in the back of his mind, like, well, okay, well, you know what? I should try to fish for Force Field. I think it just didn't click for him until after he saw it happen. Like, oh, that's relevant. I could have gambled to try to draw on Force Field because, you know, pretty much looking a couple turns ahead. You're looking for a play like that to fish for a Force Field to try to plan a couple turns ahead in order to win you the game. So, it's all good, Matt. You know, I possibly would have did that myself and not even thought about it. But now that I've seen that happen, you know, that's definitely a relevant play that I'll think about in the future when it comes to just playing any deck in general. You know, fishing for a card, a certain specific card or whatever. But maybe he thought with the backup or the Power Punch on the Chop Shop would have possibly been enough to KO my Optimus anyway. I don't know exactly what he was thinking, but so I was able to capitalize on that. And then on my next turn, my Optimus, I think I put an Energon Axe on him, and already, you know, 11 attack against Chop Shop. Chop Shop has 2 defense and 9 health. 9 and 2 is 11, so he was easily able to be KO'd. And I took the match. Moving on to the finals. And with that, let's jump into the finals and talk about it a bit. All right, guys. So as you can see here again, Optimus and Friends doesn't have anybody to face off against because it was another mirror match versus none other than Daniel Arnold of Vector Sigma. Very, very good player. We've played before in the past a couple times. I think our first encounter was me playing Double Prime versus Insecticons, and he ended up winning that game, like round 2 in a tournament at Swarthmore Comics. Shout out to that store. And yeah, so, you know, it's Vector Sigma versus, you know, S Dot, you know, and so it was very interesting to see, and we took a deep breath, you know. Happy Father's Day to both of us, you know, both fathers, you know, shout out to him, Happy Father's Day again. And yeah, so, you know, we battled it out, and I had, like I said, I have that video, and I really hope I can uncorrupt that damn file and, you know, get it on camera for you guys, because that's gonna suck if I can't. I know I already missed the SDCC pack tournament. I misplayed on that, forgot to click record because I was so nervous. Then for some reason this file gets corrupted. It's like I can't get a finals match for some reason. You know, what's next? So I'm hoping I can recover that file. So yeah, going into this match, again, it was all about the dice roll. You know, I won the dice roll, and it was all about getting that first attack on Optimus. He had a nice security checkpoint play on me at one point in the game, and but I think overall, me being able to attack on his Optimus first, the thing is, when we restand, so let me say this. So if he goes first, he goes flip Flame War, attack with Hot Rod. That's the standard play. 99.9%, you're always going to do that. Probably 100%. You're always going to do that, and you're going to attack in the Flame War while their Flame War is in alt mode. You might get 1 damage on it because average of flipping, you know, 2 cards should just be 2 blue. You might get lucky and flip a double blue and you know, 1 single blue to get 4 to block Hot Rod's 4. You know, unless Hot Rod flips an orange or whatever. But yeah, so that's the standard play. Flip Flame War, Hot Rod attacking the Flame War. He did flip an orange, actually. I think he flipped Sparring Gear, and I think I only flipped 2 blues, so he put 2 damage on my Flame War. Not the biggest deal, but he got there. And then on my turn, I flip my Flame War and do the same thing. I play an action or upgrade. I think I play Espionage or something to try to disrupt his next move a little bit, because, you know, I only have one or the other action or upgrade for the turn, my first turn. And I do the same thing and send my Hot Rod into his Hot Rod. Most likely going to deal no damage, because now the Hot Rod has tough 2, so, you know, there's that. And then turn 3, he goes to flip his Optimus, and this turn, if he has the bigger they are, he sends his Flame War with the bigger they are into my Hot Rod and get that guaranteed 4 damage, because Hot Rod has 7 stars, Flame War has 5 stars. So that's the ideal. I don't remember if he had that exactly, but that's what you would like to have at that point. And then on the my second turn, I do the same thing. I take my Flame War. If I have the bigger they are, I take it into his Hot Rod and deal 4 damage guaranteed to it and pass back turn. And then on his turn, he's most likely not going to flip the... Well, I take it back. On his turn, since he went first, he should possibly flip back the Optimus. If he main decked the heavy-handed, I side decked it. So if he had a heavy-handed in his graveyard, he's not going to attack on my Optimus this turn, so he needs to get as much value in this turn as possible. So he needs to flip his Optimus back, get heavy-handed if he doesn't have it, equipped it with a Ion Blaster, or ideally Ion Blaster or Reinforced Plating or Security Console for defense when my Optimus attacks, and send his Optimus into my Flame War or my Hot Rod, possibly my Flame War, and deal that 3 guaranteed damage, because with heavy-handed, he'll be 8 attack, Pierce 4, you know, attacking down. It's just the opposite of the bigger they are, and of course he has way more stars than Flame War, so he's definitely getting in for 4 guaranteed damage. And then after that, when we all stand, at that point, I get to resend. We kind of like just restart the whole process again, because now, we don't stand yet. I take that back. His bots are tapped, and then my Optimus gets to attack into his Optimus and get first damage. Now the reason why he did this is because the reason why he flips the Optimus to this mode and puts, you know, heavy-handed on it or whatever, or direct damage on my Optimus that turn, is because when my Optimus attacks his, at least he'll have that extra armor and, you know, the reinforced plating or whatever if I don't get rid of it, and Ion Blaster if he can help it, so he can soak up and not get that much damage dealt on him. But then the thing is, we all stand after my Optimus attacks his, and then we pretty much restart just like the beginning of the game. He goes flip Optimus back again, attack with Hot Rod, and it's pretty much that same cycle until, you know, bots are KO. Then I might, you know, toggle some things. So that's the gist of it. If you understood that, good. If not, I'm sorry. I will possibly make another video for it if you want it. So, you know, comment down in the comment section below if you want a more in-depth, like a visual, like maybe I'll try to get another 2 sets of the characters and, you know, get a better visual of and talk about it some more, because I think this matchup is honestly very relevant going into the next set. Wave 3, the deck just gets stronger because we have some black-blue cards, so, you know, Flame War can actually get in there for at least Pierce 1 with some of those cards, like Steady Shot, you know, that Cloak card that gives tough 1, and but, you know, I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, this deck is still relevant because you're able to side deck the new Optimus now and not instead of a Nemesis Prime. And you also get a star card, you know, so 13, and then the I think I talked about this in my last video. So, and then you can also side deck in a third Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime. So you'll see the Ion Blaster more often, playing 3. You have 2 legal targets. Cards like Matrix and Leadership would be relevant then, and so on and so forth. But I've been here talking about just my matchups the entire time. I haven't even gotten to the deck list. Like I said, this is going to be a long video. I'm going to speed up towards the end of this because this is almost pushing an hour. But hey, this is my championship deck profile video, so what better than to just sit here and ramble and you guys enjoy it with me. If you're at work, listen to it at work. I'm glad I can help you get through an hour of your day. So but yeah, so I ended up winning game 1, and then game 2, he didn't side deck in Nemesis. I didn't side deck in Nemesis, and but I was able to still end up taking the game because I think I had a couple of key heavy-handed plays, and you know, I had I think one of the biggest turnarounds was he got a sparring gear on a turn, and he had 3 cards in hand, and I had 2 upgrades and like 2 actions in my hand, including security checkpoint. And I remember playing my sparring gear on my prime and then security checkpointing him, knowing he would lose at least his sparring gear, but he actually already had security console, I think, and press the advantage in his hand. So took those 2 out of his hand, and he was left with press the advantage. So he was left with little options on most of his turns subsequently after that, while I still had most of my options. He even got to a point where he had to unfortunately equip a handheld blaster to his character, to his Optimus, just to get more options when it, you know, when he attacked with it, you know, for the actions or searching for actions. So with that, that's the end of the tournament. You know, like I said, I got 9th place Friday. Saturday, the first event, I scrubbed out pretty bad. I played Sentinels again, and shouldn't have. Then I'm scrounging, you know, at the bottom, trying to claw my way up, playing aerial bots. Aerial bots got me there. Shout out to that deck, great deck, and shout out to everything. And yeah, I got there with that deck, and then, you know, switched to this deck that was just calling my name. You know, Optimus. What better way than to win the first tournament with the best character in the game, the most important character in the show, Optimus Prime. So I appreciate all the comments. You know, I got a lot of love on Facebook. You know, very overwhelming. I even went as far. Well, you know what? I'll talk about it at the end. All right, guys, so I'm just going to jump into the main deck real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because most of it is self-explanatory, and then jump right into the side deck. So starting off, we have the 3 the bigger they are. Keep in mind, most of this deck is, you know, pretty much double prime. So it's nice that this deck is easily able to side into double prime and, you know, go from there. So 3 the bigger they are helps Flame War and Hot Rod get some more damage in, you know, and put that work in. Very good card. 3 Leap into Battle. Leap into Battle is always great, especially if you put it on Optimus or, you know, whoever. And but on Optimus is very powerful. You know, he's 11 attack before swinging, and then if you flip another, you know, Leap into Battle, or the bigger they are, or whatever, now all of a sudden he's at 13 or so. And, you know, this is even without a weapon. So even if he has a weapon, you know, his attack can get pretty high and definitely one-shot some bots. So pretty self-explanatory there. Then we have 3 security checkpoint, probably the most powerful blue card in the game. One of the best cards in the game in general. Being able to take away your opponent's upgrades or later game if you flip it on attack or defense and then recur it, get it back from the graveyard or scrapyard with Optimus effect is also very powerful. It's very important to save this card. And even if you have like a hand of all actions and 1 upgrade, it's probably good to hold it, unless if you're playing, like, let's say you have 3 actions in your hand and reinforced plating. It seems ideal to play the reinforced plating and then play security checkpoint, but if you don't suspect, like, depending on how early it is in the game, I kind of like to wait. I guess I should just say this. I like to wait until I see them pick up a Bastion Shield and then play my armor and then play security checkpoint. And even if I have like another upgrade in my hand, I'll sacrifice it to get rid of that Bastion Shield. Now they only have 1 more. And if they don't get it, like, even if they do get it off another one of their flips, that's the only upgrade in their hand. And, you know, and like they play the Bastion Shield, then they're still top decking, fishing for weapons or whatever. So very definitely a little tricky playing this card. Sometimes you don't just play it willy-nilly, but of course one of the most powerful cards in the game. Next up, we have 3 one-shot stand, 1-shot fall. My new favorite card in the game. I know this is, I think, Scott's favorite card. You know, definitely being able to put damage on another character, and this helps trigger your Energon Axe, you know, putting damage on your character, and getting rid of one of your opponent's bots. It's very easy to get a bot in range of 1-shot stand, 1-shot fall. This card is just always devastating to steal attacks and, or, you know, push for some, you know, maximum damage or whatever, try to KO a bot. Next up, we have 2 marksmanship. Marksmanship is the replacement for another card I'll show here, Plasma Burst. The deck used to be 3 one-shot stand, 1-shot fall, and 3 Plasma Burst, but with the addition of Marksmanship in Wave 2, this card is great. Whenever you control a ranged character, you can deal 2 damage to an enemy in bot mode. So that's relevant against every deck except Sentinels, and which wasn't represented in the top 32. Sucks. I know Sentinels is my deck. I know I didn't play it, but it was not, unfortunately, it wasn't a good option because of bugs and their extra attack, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, so Marksmanship is very powerful. It's a nice replacement for Plasma Burst because it has a blue icon, so it helps very much, of course, on defense. And Optimus is ranged in alt mode, or excuse me, in bot mode, in melee, and alt mode. And Hot Rod usually is always in alt mode anyway, and he's ranged on both sides. So even if you flipped him for whatever reason on the field, he's also still ranged. So you almost always have a ranged character, and it'll always, most of the time, be relevant. So great card. Next up, we have 2 Pep Talk. It originally was 3 Pep Talk, but I decided not to play any Inspiring Leadership in this deck. I think that card is obsolete now because of a card like Pep Talk. I will talk about this card again and bring it up later on in the, in my deck profile. But it's draw 2 cards. It's like Pot of Greed from Yu-Gi-Oh! But in Yu-Gi-Oh! You play Pot of Greed and you're also able to play a million other cards if you so choose. In this game, I understand what Scott was saying now. You play Pep Talk, but then that's it for your turn. Like, it feels good to have all these extra cards in your hand, but all you need is 1 action and 1 upgrade to play. And if that action... Most of the time, you would like to play an action upgrade that either disrupt your opponent or boost your attack to try to KO a bot. But this is the only card that we have to our disposal right now, and it's just nice to have. Like I said, this replaces the draw power of Inspiring Leadership to just, if you don't have any other upgrades, like let's say I'm playing in a mirror match, I have Leap into Battle and this card in my hand. Well, in the mirror match, Leap into Battle on Hot Rod or Flame War is not that good attacking into their Hot Rod or Flame War. So it's better to just play Pep Talk that turn to draw 2 more cards for other options, and then like use the Leap into Battle on the turn where Optimus attacks, because of course Leap into Battle and Optimus are best friends. So, and this card is also nice too because, well, like I said, I'll talk about it towards the end of the video. And then we have 2 Espionage here. Espionage, of course, is always great to flip off of Optimus. His effect, to let you play an action, of course, off of your flips. You call an icon card out of their hand and, steal the color, excuse me, getting twisted up in my words. Let me get some more water. Been here for an hour. I think I deserve some water. So tired, but like I said, I wanted to get this video out for you guys. So yeah, you can call a icon card, steal a card out of their hand, and then also trade it for, since it's a green, and bring it to your hand and play it again the next turn. So very powerful, very devastating. Unfortunately, it cannot get in steal. I still function in 1-shot stand, so I am playing 1 Disruptive Entrance. Of course, Disruptive Entrance is always good to, it can steal any action, so you can get at the non-icon cards and so on and so forth. So this is a card that was played in the Double Prime deck in Wave 1, and since then it's been back, and definitely very relevant right now. And then for my last 2 cards, I play Treasure Hunt and Smelt. Treasure Hunt, I only needed 1 in this deck because I have the Pep Talks. I have another card upgrade I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, and I'll piggyback off of only 1 Treasure Hunt instead of 2. As I get through the rest of the profile. But so Treasure Hunt, of course, helps you get to some of your important upgrades, try to get to that Ion Blaster or some of the other cards we're going to talk about. And then Smelt is honestly only good early game. I kind of still wish I just played a Vaporize instead of another Vaporize. This card is good early game because if they play and they only have 1 upgrade out, that's the best and strongest time to use this, because you can easily just add it to your hand, being a green icon card, and play it and get rid of their Ion Blaster. Just talking about the mirror because, that's relevant matchup right now, most relevant matchup I can think of right now. But like against bugs, it's not good because usually there's just grenade launchers or power punch or whatever that's going to fall off anyway. And erratic lighting you don't want to pop anyway, because erratic lighting just makes it easier for your bots to kill their bots, because erratic lighting gives -1 defense. But still, again, this card is only good early game. If they're aware you have it, they'll if they're smart, they'll play like a handheld blaster on one of their characters, or something like a Noble's blaster or whatever. Again, speaking on the mirror match, and now I can't get rid of that reinforced plating. I have to play this, and of course you'll probably just get rid of the Noble's blaster or whatever. So yeah, just 1 and 1, and that's it for the actions. And then moving on to the upgrades, of course, 3 handheld blaster, not much to say about these. It just helps you on defense. You almost never equip it unless you really have to on Optimus to help you give some additional, flips for your attack. For your attack to search for extra actions to play. Again, bear with me. I've been what, hour and 12 minutes now. This is a very long video. I hope this is not too long, but hey, it is what it is. Like I said, it's my championship video, and I'm gonna stop apologizing for that. So if you if you are enjoying this, I appreciate you being here, and I thank you for the support. Okay, so 2 Ion Blaster. I don't play 3 because I don't have 2 targets for the card. I only have the 1, of course, Optimus Prime. But of course, putting this on him always feels good. He'll be a 10-3, which is ridiculous before attacking, and you know, put a leap in the battle or the bigger they are on him, and he's swinging up for the fences, looking to KO characters. Then I also play 2 Energon Axe, very powerful card. Your Hot Rod and Flame War, you can put these on earlier in the game and they can get some nice damage in. Minimum they'll get in is 2 because on a damaged character it gives +3 attack and of course gives Pierce 2, so you're definitely getting 3 damage in. And 2 Arm Hovercraft. I actually play Arm Hovercraft because I have 2 ranged characters. Optimus again in alt mode, or excuse me, in bot mode, and Hot Rod. So this is nice against aerial bots to deal 1 damage across the board. This will also especially help you game 1 because you know the matchup's not that good because 3-Watt Optimus versus aerial bots. I've mentioned in another video, if aerial bots KO Optimus Prime, there's no way Flame War and Hot Rod are going to win the game. So this at least helps you get there and you know, deal some extra damage on the aerial bots. Of course, the only problem is you know, drawing it, but definitely was a good solid card, especially in the mirror matches. Our card helped out a lot. And then the last weapon I played is one Nobles Blaster, self-explanatory. Get it. If I can't get any other weapon, get it so I can put it on Optimus. Optimus will still be a 10-2, not a 10-3 like Ion Blaster, but still a great card because it's searchable. For weapons, weapons are pretty simple. Play 3 reinforced plating and 2 sparring gear. Really not much to say about those. You know, they give tough 2, very strong. And then the last card, what I was talking about from Pep Talk and Treasure Hunt earlier, I played 3 Security Console for my utilities. Now, Security Console is a great card because, like with Pep Talk and combo with Pep Talk, Inspiring Leadership was good because, okay, I'm not saying that correctly. Pep Talk is better than Inspiring Leadership in his deck because you want those double blues in your hand. Ideally, normally you would draw 3 cards and you will easily discard your handheld blasters and your you know, security checkpoints if you didn't need them or whatever. But now we have green icons, and then we also have this card, Security Console. So whenever your opponent attacks, you draw a card, and you may stack a card from your hand on top of your deck. So you use those handheld blasters, you use those security consoles, you use your white icon cards to help extend your flips because you know you're going to flip a white, which is going to make you flip 2 more cards, and things like that. So Pep Talk, you want all those cards in your hand as you can get, so you can, when you do flip green cards, you have, you know, these extra cards you just pitch and grab those green cards. And then of course Security Console is just great in general because you can always just draw and you don't have to stack, and it just gives you that hand advantage, so you just have more options for every one of your turns. And that's it for the deck profile. 40 cards, not 42 this time like in my Sentinel deck, but yeah, 40 cards in my 10 card side deck and the Nemesis Prime deck. All right, so real quick before I get into the side deck again, I want to shout out to Daniel Arnold, and I want to shout out, I think I'm just going to do my shout outs now. I was going to do it at the end of the video, but I'm going to do it now. Shout out to WOTC and the crew. Shout out to Ken Nagel and John. I'm going to say John is his name, the social media director for the crew. He, you know, had all my pictures posted. If you haven't noticed, I'm flexing in all my pictures, and I plan on doing that in every picture you ever see of me. I just want to be known as the flex guy. You know, why not? Just to stand out, you know, just be cool about it. And if I forget to do it in a photo, something was wrong with me that day. But I'm gonna try my best to remember to make sure I flex in every picture I ever play, as long as I'm playing this game. And I hope to be playing this game for a long time. But yeah, shout out to Dan Arnold again, man. Real cool dude. Like I said, happy Father's Day to you again. And I will say Vector Sigma, shout out to the entire team. They are the reason, probably the biggest reason why I'm okay. I take that back. They're not the biggest reason. I got another shout out. They are a large part of the reason why I've won. I learned a lot of things. I learned about direct damage from Scott. You know, I think my new favorite card actually is One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall. Brainstorm is a close second. But yeah, they taught me a lot of what I know. And with that, that lets me segue into their Patreon. So again, they had 2 players that made top 16 and top 8 playing bugs. It doesn't even matter what they were playing. The fact that they just learned the game literally like maybe an hour before the event or 10 minutes or whatever before. Oh, I think the one guy learned 10 minutes before the preliminary and then practice again or something like that an hour before the event. But either way, these are new, very brand new players that top 16 and top 8 it. That's ridiculous. So if Vector Sigma can do that and catapult them to a top 16 and top 8 finish. Imagine if they, didn't make those misplays they did, because I know they talked about some of the misplays they did, but of course they're brand new players. But if you could be a brand new player and do that, imagine what you can do with having experience under your belt before going into a big tournament. So look into, vectorsigma.info and look into becoming a Patreon with them, because they are a really big help. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. They look at the game in a very special way. And, I've said it before in another video, they're definitely the pioneers of the game. Whenever you look back at the game, they were the ones that started, they say they're the #1 video content, competition creators. Well, they really are the only ones, but that's just fine. There's nobody else that's ever going to be able to, I don't want to say compete with it, but like I said, the way they do things is outstanding. I've learned a lot from them, and without learning those things from them and actually paying attention to what they say and the specific things they've all taught me, Dan, Mark, Scott, John, I talked to John about a couple things, Vin, and I think those are the main, the 5 that I've gotten that help from. So shout out to you guys, man. I appreciate y'all, and catapulted me to where I am today. So with that, I also want to shout out my one of my best friends, Maurice Douglas. Maurice, man, shout out to you. He's actually moving back up here soon. Have a safe travels home if you're listening to this. And I say thank you and shouting out him, because he's the reason why you're watching this video today. I say that because I think I may have mentioned this in my very first video when I made my little introduction. He's the one that introduced me to the game. And if he didn't, I would have noticed this game a year later, like I do a lot of other TCGs, and just said, oh, that's cool, Transformers has a TCG. Nice. And then went about my business. I probably wouldn't have cared, because, I already lost. My first love will always be Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Transformers, but my first love will always be Yu-Gi-Oh! And I already had to drop that due to my job at the time, etc., etc. But he just asked me one day randomly, he's like, hey, man, why don't you come check this game out? Transformers got a new card game, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's what's up. Let me check it out. Why not? And when I checked it out, like I said in that first video, I was like, yo, this game is hot. I like this. And it's a new game, so, I was like, okay, got the competitive guys. I think that's what also really helped me. Shout out to Vector Sigma again, is when I met Mark. Mark's the very first person I met of the entire team. Didn't even know who he was at the time. And, once I found out who he was, I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, Mark, I remember that name. And I'm like, oh, snap, you're the dude from the website. Wow, okay. Now I'm all in. Teach me about the game, teach me some things, and let's go from there. So that's all she wrote from that point. So kind of blanking here for a second. So shout out again to my boy Maurice Douglas. He is the reason again why you're watching these videos today, because I would not have been playing this game if he didn't show me at the time he showed me. So it was all fate, and I am happy to be here. So with that, let me talk about the side deck here. As you can see, I have Nemesis Prime here. Nemesis Prime was generally to help against aerial bots and certain other matchups like Dinobots and Metroplex. Metroplex beats the 3 wide deck pretty easily, but it really can't handle Double Prime. Double Prime, they're just 2 big guys that are in a heavy blue deck that you play a Leap in the Battle on Nemesis and you play an Energon Axe on Nemesis, and now he's 13 swinging in, taking a ridiculous amount of health. Optimus swings in, he flips or actions or whatever and boosts his health or deals damage to Metroplex, and then they're not safe with Slammer, so you bring a Slammer out, my deck can easily bring back One Shot Stand, One Shot Fall and kill the Slammer and go after the Metroplex again. So that deck can't hide from it. So so this helps you get beefier against certain decks. And like I said, one of the biggest was aerial bots. And that's really about it. So of course you side out Nemesis. You side out Hot Rod and Flame Warp and go from there, because the deck is just about the same as Double Prime used to be. There's not really that many differences. But I want to talk about the side deck real quick, and unfortunately I am going to go over an hour, but hey, like I said, I appreciate you guys being here, and I had a lot to talk about. I literally want to lay it all out for you, what happened throughout the weekend, and tell you the entire story. And you can sit here and just live vicariously through me and just imagine. Like I said, I was going through a lot of stress this weekend, and I still got to show you guys the trophy, so let me get right into the side deck. So simply the heavy-handeds, I play these helped against area bots if I played against them, which I didn't in the top 32. They help in the mirror match. The card I take out usually when I side these in against more heavy blue decks is Leap in the Battle, because blue on blue, Leap in the Battle is only really good on Optimus when he goes to 11, and then before he attacks and boosts his attack by even more or whatever when he attacks. Putting this on Flame War to make her 6 to attack into a Hot Rod that has tough 2 with their Flame War isn't going to do anything. Putting this on him, attacking into a sky, putting a leap into battle onto a skydive and attacking with hot rod with 7 attack into a skydive. 7 is kind of respectable, but skydive's probably going to block most of it. Like, yeah, sure, you might get a damage in or whatever, but with this card, you put this on hot rod. Hot rod has 6 attack, but he has pierce 4, so now the skydive's taking 4. Now any of their characters are taking 4. Of course, the only one that doesn't benefit from it is Flame War. Flame War, and this is game 1 we're speaking on because I sided in the Nemesis Prime for Aerial Bots game 2, but you don't, bigger they are or heavy-handed don't work, of course, against the area bots because Flame War and all the area bots are both 4 or 5 stars. Next we have Corner. Corner was solely, of course, for area bots. I think I only played 1 because theoretically, once I flip it, like it's beautiful if I flip it off of Optimus' effect because I can use it off of his attack, and then I can also get it back because it's a greed icon card, and then use it again the next turn, and then also use it again. It's broken if you. Probably should have sided more just thinking about it, but imagine flipping Cornered off of Optimus's attack, flipping their Alpha Bravo back, and then you get it off of, you trade a handheld blaster or whatever for it because it's a green icon. Then on your next turn, you play Cornered again, flip one of their characters back again, set them back again, and then Optimus is still in alt mode. You flip Optimus back to bot mode, or to you flip Optimus from bot mode back to alt mode, get the corner back again, and corner them again. So you corner them 3 times, all off of Optimus, and this is of course why Optimus is the best card in the game. So I only played 1, didn't think I needed more than 1 because I also had the heavy-handed among some other cards in the side deck. 1 Vaporize. I played Smelt in the main deck, and yeah, I played Smelt in the main deck, and of course, and I didn't feel like I really needed this because if I needed it, I was sided against a blue deck, and I could always recur it with Optimus. And I played 1 Enforcement Baton. This wasn't necessarily a card that I necessarily needed. There's really no matchup that I actually wanted against, I guess, except the Mirror, because the Mirror, an important armor you definitely want to get off of them. You want to get their Energon Axe off of them, or you want to get their Ion Blaster off of them, so it's relevant in that sense. Otherwise, you really don't need it against that many other matchups because, like most orange matchups, usually play things that fall off, or the weapons that are on the characters in a heavy orange deck, they're probably going to die anyway because, being heavy orange, they're fragile and will die easily. So, or usually by the time it's time to stand, you kill it off with direct damage or whatever. So I only play 1 Force Batons. Then I also played 1 Force Field because, of course, orange heavy decks were so relevant. Although probably, if I played a card like this, I should have played more because I don't think I ever saw it when I needed it. I think against like the card deck, this is the only card I sided in against the Insecticons. I think I took out Smelt for Force Field because Smelt's not good against them, and Smelt in general is only good early game. But yeah, I should have sided more, but it was just, theoretical. I kind of just, honestly, with not that much sleep and time in between, that last preliminary event and top 32, I kind of just threw some things together. But as you can see, there's no Photon Bomb in here, and I could easily say that these 2 cards could have been Photon Bomb. But then I also sit here and say that I have a lot of cards specifically sided against Aerial Bots, and I don't think the Aerial Bot matchup is that bad that I needed to side in so many cards because, Photon Bombs would have been fine because, of course, Optimus can recur it. And so I honestly just forgot about it, to be honest with you. But even if I didn't have it, I'm confident to say that I think I still could win the Aerial Bot matchup even without Photon Bomb. So, and speaking of having too many cards against the deck, the last card I played in here is 3 Grenade Launcher. So this card is a card I would play against any blue deck that's not the mirror match. So pretty much just, Aerial Bots, or if I played against another, okay, I have to say, first of all, shout out to David Pang. David Pang got first place in the first preliminary event on Thursday, with blue cards. I think he played Hot Rod, the 6-star Bumblebee from the starter deck, and super rare Bumblebee from Wave 1. So that was very interesting to see, playing a balance. It was like mostly blue, but he also still played a good bit of oranges. Like, well, okay, I don't want to say mostly blue. It was slanted towards blue, but he played a lot of orange. He played Grenade Launchers in there. He played Press the Advantage. He played, I think, Treasure Hunt and things like that. So it was very interesting to see. Look forward to that deck profile coming soon. I did get that from him, the one he was playing, I think, for top 32. Unfortunately, he lost in top 32, but I'm sure I'll see him again. I know he'll do well and get there for the Energon Invitational. So shout out to you, David Pang. But yeah, so he gave me this idea because, I got the idea from him because I saw him playing this in his main deck, even though it was in a blue heavy deck, because he said he used them and they helped against Aerial Bots to push that higher damage, all of a sudden leap into battle and Grenade Launcher on a Bumblebee, or any of them was all of a sudden, the cars are a threat, so. yeah, shout out to that. I thought that was a good idea, so I figured I'd try it. Of course, again, like I said, I didn't play against aerial bots in top, but if I had to change anything about the side, like I said, I think I would take out these two for 2 photon bomb. So my side deck against aerial bots would be 7 cards still, and I think these 3 grenade launchers, I don't know what they'd be, maybe like 2 more vaporizers, because trading weapons throughout in the mirror matches are very important. Or possibly, I think, actually would have played Bash and Shield. I would have played Bash and Shield so you can easily just get the armor and kill their armor while you still have yours. Now, granted, of course, you're playing a Bash and Shield. You don't have tough 2. You have 3 defense plus your flame war tough or whatever. But like if you can get Bashing Shield and Ion Blaster on Optimus, he'll have 4 defense, at least in alt mode, plus the tough from flame war as long as she's alive. So that's something that I would have to actually test out, but theoretically I think I would side 2 Bashing Shield and another card. So for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, this is the box that was presented to me by WOTC and Pastimes at the event, and I'm very grateful for this box. It's just a box. There's nothing in it. There's nothing, no big deal about it. It's just a really cool, nice silver grayish box, and I'm very appreciative of it. I'm gonna put this on my trophy case, and no, I'm joking with you guys. So WOTC, I was not expecting this, by the way. So in the midst of like top 2, like I was cool with losing to Dan. I mean, I was cool with losing to anybody. It's all respect, but in the midst of thinking about it, it's like, if I lost in top 2, it's whatever. I got this far. I'm just happy I made it, after this bad weekend. But also in the same breath, I'm like, I want to win. So, ended up being Dan in the finals again. Shout out to him, great player. Today was just my day, or excuse me, that day was just my day. That's all it was. So I'm sure Dan will get him a championship here soon, sometime this year, one of these events. Because like I said, he's a great player, so watch out for him. When you sit across from him, definitely be on your A game. And that goes for anybody from Vector Sigma. And a lot of other great players, not just Vector Sigma. I know I've kind of coined and talked about them a lot. But Adam Bixler, shout out to him. Shout out to, damn, I'm forgetting all these names. Okay, Brian, Kyle. What's the one guy? Damn, so many. He played the 4-wide card deck that Wotc played. Shout out to Wotc and Sum 41. You know who you are, man. I'm sorry, I'm so bad with names, but you know exactly who you are. I talked to you a lot throughout the weekend. I talked to a lot of you guys, man. Everybody I talked to, everybody I didn't talk to. Again, I appreciate you guys. But anyway, so I win the match. And, they announced, winner of the event, Stefan Pitney, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's clapping. Everything's cool. John, I think this is the guy's name, John, he comes out and he hands me this box. And I'm like, kind of skeptical at first. I'm like, what the heck is in this box? I ain't trying to, something going to pop out, attack me. But so I opened the box, and there's just like a little nice packaging on it, as you can see. Let me pull the camera up here a little bit. There we go. Okay, so this cool packaging. Sorry for the, let me see if I can fix this a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I got this cool packaging, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I see this box, and at the top, as you can see, it says, "Congrats from the Transformers TCG team." It says Prism right here, and at this point, I'm still confused on what it is. I'm just so like ecstatic that I won. I'm still trying to soak the fact that I won. But I have signatures here from all of the WOTC staff, and I'm assuming, I want to say Pastime. I got so many signatures on here. The only one I recognize is Ken Nagel, and that's only because he signed my cards. But yeah, so I get through all that, and I open it, and I see this. So it smells weird. Well, not really weird, but don't mind me. So yeah, got this really nice trophy. Look at this, guys. I can't really try to get it in the camera the best I can, but what it says is Rise of the Combiners 2019 Origins Champion. So you get that there. That's a decent picture of it. So yeah, it's like I call it an All-Spark. I know I'm touching it. I shouldn't be touching it, but thank goodness I talked to the one guy. He said that I can wipe it out, or get a microfiber cloth and wipe it, and I'll probably never try my best not to ever touch it again. But yeah, it has the Autobot symbol on one side, or Autobot symbol on one side, and Decepticon symbol on the other side. What better way than to end the weekend with a trophy? I was not expecting this. Nobody was expecting this. This wasn't announced pre-event. And yeah, so it's just a big old cube. It's kind of heavy. It's about 15 pounds. I picked it up at first, and I had to actually use a little bit of force because I'm like, oh, dang, it's a little heavy. So very nice of WOTC to be giving this out, and I am honored to be the first one to hold one. So I will definitely cherish this for the rest of my life, and I will. Yeah, I'm just very honored and blessed to have had this weekend, and that's really all there is to say. Oh, and I do have to mention, so I called my girlfriend, and told her, I was talking to her throughout the way, and she was, rooting me on and telling me to stay focused. And she was like, keep on going. She wasn't even like necessarily excited for me at first. I noticed, because all she kept saying when I talked to her, she would say, keep going. I'm proud of you. And I'm like, for some reason, I think I just expected for her to be more excited because I kept winning. But in her head, and what she told me is she knew I was going to win. She just had the confidence in me that I was going to win. Not, oh, he could win. No, he's going to win. So she just didn't want to hear nothing else but I won the event. That's what I did. I called and told her I won. And I started crying. I could not believe I cried. I haven't cried since, and that stays between us, okay? Don't tell anybody I cried. But I'm tearing up, man, and it was so uncontrollable. I was just so happy that I won. I'm sitting here wiping my eyes. I'm like, oh my God. The last time I cried, I remember it was 5 months ago when my son was born. And that was so uncontrollable too. I cannot believe it. You know, I'm going into the delivery room like, oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'll be all right. And yeah, so that's it. I won. I won the first Transformers event. You know, go down in the history books. Definitely, you know, prove my worth around here. And, you know, S. Akuma is a name hopefully you guys will remember forever. So like I said, I'm very humbled. I'm ready to go to more events and compete against you guys. If you guys see me at any event that I'm at, please come up and say what's up. I am easily approachable. I'm one of the nicest people you meet, I think, anyway. And, you know, definitely be cool to talk with you about the game, play a game with you if you want, and whatever. So with that, I will end the video here at 122 minutes. And that's really all I got, man. That's all I got. I'm just very blessed, and I'm blessed. That's all I can say. I'm blessed, and I'm just happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to playing, you know, more Transformers TCG. This is only the beginning. All right, guys. This is S. Akuma heading out. Peace.